Hi everybody, welcome back into GamecocksOnline.com. I'm Cory Burkarth, joined by Andy Demetra. The Gamecocks returned home on Saturday for their home opener against the Kentucky Wildcats. Kickoff set for 7:30 on SEC Network. And Andy, coming off a big win against UNC last weekend, the Gamecocks will be facing a Kentucky team that a lot of folks have described recently as hungry.
Absolutely, and a dark horse in the Eastern Division. You know, season openers, Cory, are always special. They're more special when you can enter yours at 1-0, as the Gamecocks did with their win over North Carolina. They're even more special when it doubles as a conference opener. And with how wide open the SEC Eastern Division figures to be this year, very important they get win number one in conference play off the board against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Coming off a 17-13 win against UNC Chapel Hill Thursday night up in Charlotte. Just talk about your thoughts on that game.
Well, Steve Spurrier said the final score did not necessarily match up to the box score. The Gamecocks allowed 440 yards of offense, yet only 13 points allowed. So while they're very gratified they got the win and there were some nice individual performances, they know they need to play better if they want to sustain their winning ways. And it begins on the defensive side of the ball. Allowing 440 yards, yes, they got those timely interceptions. Yes, they forced North Carolina into going 0 for 3 in red zone touchdowns, which helped swing a one-possession game. But they all know they need to be better if they want to beat a Kentucky team that hung 40 in its season-opening win against Louisiana Lafayette.
When you look at South Carolina's defense, John Hoke joined the staff in the offseason as a co-defensive coordinator, Jordan Lorenzo Ward. When you look at what the Gamecocks did last week against UNC, 3 turnovers against the Tar Heels, Sky Moore with a pair of interceptions. And you mentioned Kentucky's 40-point output last week against Louisiana Lafayette. When you look at Kentucky's offense, obviously looks a lot different than UNC's. Talk about the challenges that South Carolina will face on Saturday.
They have more of a traditional drop-back passer in Patrick Tolles. They have a new offensive coordinator in Shannon Dawson, who comes from West Virginia. If anybody's familiar with the way the Mountaineers run their attack, you're going to see some up-tempo elements, but also they ran the ball very effectively against Louisiana Lafayette. 26 carries. The Wildcats averaged 6.8 yards per carry, which was the 13th highest average in college football last week. Contrast that with the Gamecocks, which did not do a good job wrapping up at the point of attack, and they allowed North Carolina to gain 6.5 yards per carry. So for South Carolina, it's all going to begin up front. They got 4 sacks last week versus North Carolina, which was terrific, but they need to be tighter, stuffing the run, getting 11 hashes of the ball, preventing those broken tackles, because that's something that Kentucky established right out of the gates this season that they can do well.
On the other side of the ball, one of the offensive headlines heading into Thursday's opener was Connor Mitch making his first career start for the Gamecocks. When you look at how the offense played during the game, Pharaoh Cooper obviously had the second quarter touchdown, and then in the fourth quarter, Sean Carson, I think he's still running as fast as he broke that play for that touchdown. So when you look at this offense, I think one thing that they showed on Thursday was that they can move the ball through the air and they have the ground weapons as well. So against this Kentucky defense, what will be the key for South Carolina?
Yeah, the Gamecocks are still trying to find out who they are offensively, and they did try a little bit of everything against North Carolina. I'm sure the coaches have a better sense now of what'll work and what can be effective against the Kentucky defensive front, which might be without one of its starting linebackers on Saturday. With Connor Mitch, you get that first start out of your system. That's the most important thing. Going 9 for 22, but playing error-free football, didn't put the ball on the ground, didn't throw an interception. He needs some help from his wide receivers, though, and Steve Spurrier mentioned that. They need to do a better job setting up their defensive backs where they can become unglued against a man one-on-one, make some more hits downfield with the intermediate and deep passes. But the Gamecocks showed they can rotate in the tailbacks. Brandon Wilds, David Williams, Sean Carson, who had the game-breaking touchdown run against North Carolina. Keep those backs fresh. That might help wear down the Kentucky interior, allow the Gamecocks to widen the playbook.
As the Gamecocks get ready to face Kentucky on Saturday here at Williams-Brice Stadium, Andy, obviously one of the headlines outside of the stadium will be the Springs Brooks Plaza. It looks terrific. The stadium crew, all the construction companies, the workers have done a tremendous job turning the outside of Williams-Brice into a first-class looking area. Talk about this entire construction project. It's almost been over a year in the making, but how do you feel about it?
Just remarkable how transformed Williams-Brice Stadium looks from when South Carolina played its last home game there. Just remarkable what has been done. So if you're planning on coming to the home opener on Saturday, whenever you normally arrive, give yourself an extra hour. Take some time to walk around the new Springs Brooks Plaza. Admire the George Rogers statue, which will have its public unveiling at 4 p.m. check out the commemorative bricks if you have one of those. The Binion Game Day Center. It is unbelievable now what kind of ambiance there is outside Williams-Brice Stadium. It's sure to match the ambiance inside Williams-Brice Stadium, but everything was done first class with the Springs Brooks Plaza.
7:30 kickoff set for SEC Network, and as always, the game will be available on the Gamecock IMG Radio Network. Todd Ellis and Tommy Suggs with the call upstairs. Andy, talk to us about our pregame coverage on Saturday.
Yeah, you know the drill, Cory. We get started 3 hours before kickoff, so you can join us on the air beginning at 4:30. Whether you're already tailgating, you're on your way into Columbia, make sure you tune in to the Gamecock IMG Sports Network. We'll take care of you, give you all the information you need to enjoy kickoff beginning at 4:30.
All right, Andy, we are looking forward to it. Gamecock fans, looking forward to having you all here on Saturday at Williams-Brice Stadium as the Gamecocks get set to face Kentucky. For Andy Demetra, Matt Freed, I'm Cory Burkarth. Enjoy the game.